as an artist, you have to fail in order to get better. You have to make mistakes to correct, and then when you correct them, then you get better at that. You have to learn from like your mistakes and learn from your failures.
Welcome back to It Takes a Universe. I'm Ashley, and today I want to give a special introduction. Makeup artist for Quinta Brunson, Cynthia Erivo, is that how you say the last name? Kirby Howell-Baptiste, and more. She has been featured in articles in The Hollywood Reporter, Vogue, Ulta Beauty, and has worked with Vogue Italia, Volkswagen, Target, and more. And I met her on set of Verbo. What's your name?
I'm Renée Loiz.
Applause, claps. Oh my gosh, you guys, she's so busy. But we're so lucky to have her today.
I'm glad to be here.
I love her. Okay, I'll just say before the questions. Okay, I met her on set for a print job. And the 9.5 years that I've been here, because is it Cassie? What's the hair?
Yeah,
I made
Cassie.
that name up. Okay.
No. Cassie
First time that I had a black makeup artist and black hairstylist.
Together.
Hold the silence.
It was a special time.
It was a special moment. So she had her assistant do my skin before she even did my makeup. Okay. So let's reverse. Let's go back in time. So you're from Wisconsin?
I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and then you moved to Atlanta. You started doing fashion design?
Yeah, so I'm from Wisconsin originally, and then my family moved to Illinois when I was in 10th grade.
Oh.
Just literally 10 minutes away from my hometown.
Okay.
And then I went to school, actually 1 year at Western Illinois for, from the Midwest. Now, I love my Midwest people.
Uh-oh.
I know we've evolved since then, but at my high school, I was like, well, I want to go to school for fashion design.
Yeah.
And then they were like, home ec. Same thing. So I went to Western, I ran track, so I had a scholarship for track, and then I went for, I am fast. And so I went for home ec, but then while I was there, I was like, this isn't what I want to do. So I transferred to Bar Fashion Design School in Atlanta.
How did you, growing up, who, inspired you growing up for you to be like, oh, I want to do fashion design?
So my dad is not into fashion at all. My mom is very into fashion, still is.
Stunting on everyone
at church with the whole outfits on, but she was just always into fashion. We always had Vogue and all the Vanity Fair at home, Essence, Ebony, of course, and Jet. That was my favorite, the little one. But yeah, she was just always up on trends, always making sure we were, my sisters, so I have an older brother, but my two younger sisters and I, making sure we were always dressed super cool and the latest of everything. And so really from just being around that environment is how I got into that.
But then you changed paths and you're like, I'm gonna do makeup instead. Yeah. So why did you choose Atlanta versus New York or LA? And then when did that shift for you personally happen when you went from design to makeup?
Yeah. So when I was at Western, I wanted to go to, is it FIT in New York or is it FIDM in New York?
Ooh, I feel like there's a FIDM here.
Okay, so it's FIT in New York.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So I wanted to go to FIT in New York, but my parents were like, absolutely not. Because it's huge city, this is in the 90s, and they were like, no. So we have family in Atlanta and in the South as well, and so I just chose Barter. And it was funny because there, back then, this is in the late 90s, there's the internet starting out, but nothing. So I found the ad for FIT and for Barter in the back of a 17 magazine, and you just apply from there.
Wow! And 17 magazine was hella influential. I was buying things out of there, the Bible.
Yeah.
I need this skirt.
Yeah,
my dad
exactly.
would be $50. They have the skirt.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so family.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then so then I was doing fashion design, and it's very hard. You know, it's hard. I mean, I can't even imagine now how hard it is.
Right.
But and it's very like technical, like computers, and there's I think this system called CAD or something where you have to learn. And so, you know, I didn't grow up wearing makeup. I only would sneak wearing makeup, and like one of my oldest cousins, who was like super cool, wore like leather jacket and stuff. She like snuck me in the bathroom at their house and put makeup on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then my mom's best friend, who she grew up with, Deborah Earl, who she actually lives here in LA, was one of Prince's makeup artists in Minnesota, so back in the day. And her husband was a model, and so like, just like, you know, it was just these little things that got me interested in that. I didn't even know like what that was as a career, but I got interested in just, I think, the whole world of fashion and beauty. And so then when I was in Atlanta, so MAC was there. Obviously there were other counters and stuff, but MAC really stood out because, now this is in the late 90s, it was very, very artistic. Everyone was doing their own thing, colorful, the hair, like, you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to work there. And so there was a pro store, it was at Perimeter Mall, and I went there, and I was like, can I have an application? Like, literally, little bit of experience doing makeup, like hardly, and only on people that I knew, not on strangers. And I was like, can I have an application? Filled it out. They called me back. Hey, thankfully. Went back. You have to do 3 interviews with them. So one is like just them. The next one is like bringing a model in and doing it on them, but also like they want to see you talking to the person and how you're going to like sell the product, obviously. And then the last one is like an interview with like everyone, all the higher ups there. And so I aced them all. And I remember my first day, I was, I mean, literally they just said, go out there. And it was like, I was just in a stranger's face, like applying mascara, or, you know, my hand was shaking. I was like, what am I doing? Like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but, you know, it was fun. The thrill was like really fun to just like talk to people and see their skin tones and like where they're from, you know, so I just fell in love with it. And it was awesome in Atlanta because obviously Atlanta is like a lot of African-American people, but then there's also a lot of African people coming over from Africa, a lot of international people like Indian, you know, Chinese, Korean, coming over. So it was really cool to learn those like skin tones. This is like I started at MAC in '98, I think. So just learning all those different skin tones, and then also, you know, with a lot of like African people or Indian people coming over, you know, they come into MAC, they get a ton of product, you know, to bring back, but realizing that everyone has different beauty standards than what we do here. So, you know, they would come over and want like super light foundation. And I didn't understand what that was. But that's their, you know, it's just a part of their, it's a part of their lifestyle. And I had to get used to being, you know, I was like trying to correct them, but then you're realizing, well, this is a part of their culture. So you just like, it's what they want, you know, so you just roll with it. You know, it's fun to learn about different beauty standards and beauty, you know, culture and stuff. From there, from Atlanta, I was there at that MAC for, I think 2 or 3 years, and then my husband went to school in Atlanta also, so he was there with me, but then we moved to Connecticut, which is where he's from, and then I worked for MAC there, and so there, it is very different than Atlanta. So it's a lot of Caribbean, a lot of Puerto Rican, a lot of Dominican, Jamaican still, but then a lot of white people as well. A lot of white. It's okay. I'm half white, so I can say white.
We can say
white. You know, so now I'm learning those skin tones, you know, which was also really cool. The different culture, like the Caribbean culture, you know. And from there, then 2003 we moved out here, and then I worked at MAC in Century City. So it was Persian, Jewish,
right.
Asian, and even like just like the you know, it's very wealthy out there in Century City. So it's just even a different like mindset of how people are. But I'm really glad that I did all that because I learned all these different skin tones, just even talking to people about their culture, you know, beauty conversations was really amazing. And with MAC, you actually go to, sorry, this is like a MAC ad, but I do love MAC. Monique,
sponsor both of us now.
Monique, who's the artist relations there, is like really close with you. We're really good friends and been friends for like over 20 years. And yeah, it's a great company. But when you work there, you have like these classes that you take, so you learn all the techniques, everything. It's called, I forget what the class is actually called when you get hired. They have a book. That you learn everything, color theory, just the shapes of faces, all that stuff. And then also they have for the actual employees, like artist classes all around the whole US that you can take too. So yeah.
I thought it was like, no, you need your shirt before coming up in here.
No. I don't know how it is now, but back then it was.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what made you then come to LA versus New York since you were in Connecticut?
Well, yeah, so we were going to actually move to New York. That was our plan. So Atlanta, Connecticut to New York. No other plan, okay? I was going to transfer with MAC, easy. But then we visited, because a lot of our friends from Atlanta had moved to LA and Berkeley, and so we came out here to visit them. And when we came out here, we were like, well, this is where we're moving. Literally, we came down the escalator at LAX and we were like, this is amazing.
We're not going back.
No. So we came out, that was February of 2003, and we moved in July of 2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And just to like backtrack, so your mom was like so into fashion but not makeup?
No.
That's so interesting.
Saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost. So no makeup wearing. no makeup wearing.
Oh my gosh, okay.
All skincare, no makeup.
So you kind of already answered, because I did the deep dive on the gram, so you were doing makeup at MAC, but I wanted to ask, like, how did you transition from like working for a makeup brand at a store to then
doing what I do now,
print jobs and commercials, and did you, if I'm wrong, I don't know, did you start on kids first? Okay.
Yeah.
And the third question, oh my god, all these questions, because I know nothing about makeup. Is it, I don't want to say easier, or is it like a stepping stone to do youth first before adults?
No,
or that's just okay.
Yeah. So
MAC to
gigs. MAC to gigs. Okay, so then I left MAC in 2005, and because now I'm in LA, and it's like, you know, when I was in Atlanta, when I was in Connecticut, this world of entertainment is not, there's a little bit in Atlanta back then, but not like it is here. So there's just so many different things that you can do within the beauty world. So, you know, I'm looking at magazines and I'm seeing, there's like Ashanta Sharif, you know, she's like working on, you know, whoever, you know, it's just, she's an amazing makeup artist. Pat McGrath is like, you know, Charlie Green, all these ones that I really looked up to, and you're just like, well, I want to do that. So then I was just, my husband already works for himself. He has his own company. And so he was like, just freelance. Like he had,
easy.
Yeah, he was like, just leave MAC and freelance. And so I just did it. Because he had been doing it for years. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. You know, I worked at like art galleries to like supplement, but it's basically, so back then, no social media.
No social. So
I would email, LinkedIn had just started. I would imagine LinkedIn started probably in 2006 or 7, I don't know. But, so I would look in magazines and see the credits, like the photographer, or, you know, I started learning all these terms, like we're talking about creative director, photo producer, and then obviously photographer. So I'd see their names, Google them, search their email, and email them my portfolio, whatever I had. And we had book portfolios too.
Yeah.
So I would just send them maybe pictures, but then if they wanted to see my book portfolio, I would just send them my book portfolio. Yeah. And then, so that's how my name kind of got out there. I was just literally emailing tons of people all day. And then once LinkedIn came out, it was a little bit easier to find their information.
So that's how you started.
That's how I started.
The gigs. And then,
kids.
Yeah, how did it transition to kids? Because I was like, oh, I had like no idea. When I was like, oh, this is a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids. So when I left Mac and started freelancing, I had a friend who worked for what was it? It was for Vans. She worked for Vans, and she was the art director there. She eventually became the creative director, but she was the art director. And she was like, "Do you want to come and do hair and makeup for photo shoot?" And I was like, "Okay, like that's gonna be cool because she's already my friend." And and then with Vans, it's like all like youth and you know. So I just. From there, I was doing like Vans, Roxy, Swell, all the skate and surf brands. Sun. And it's all like kid stuff, you know. And I work well with everyone, but I love kids, and so I, Miss Renee, and like, this and that. So, and then the parents are there, and the parents are like, oh, she works really well, and like, we want Renee back or whatever. Aww. So, okay. All those kids that I worked with, so I did that for years. I worked with adults too, but I was really known as like Renee works with kids. Yeah. A lot of those kids that I worked with became actors. Okay, Michael Bella, Mia Check, Lonnie Chavez, like all these kids became actors, and they'd be like, Miss Renee, can you do my red carpet? And so then from there, that's how I started kind of doing celebrities, and then. Which got me to where I am now.
Oh, she's doing red carpet. Look at that, they grown up with her. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I wanted to ask. Maybe it's. Yeah, I feel like if Mac has always been colorful, or not Mac, anybody, have you seen a shift in skin tone foundation from when you started in the 90s to now? Yeah. And when do you feel like that shift really started happening?
I feel like, so Mac. They do have every skin tone. Now, of course, they've advanced and they have more different formulas for people instead of just like studio fixes that everyone's wearing, but it doesn't necessarily work on everyone. But they have like every color for sure. That's why they were so huge, because they were like this kind of like the stepping stone. But no other brand was really doing that. Maybe Makeup Forever a little bit, but not until I'm gonna say until Fenty came out was when that was like, crazy. She just like blew the spot up. Yeah, so she, obviously she's expanded it and, has other formulas and stuff like that. But it was, because that was like such a huge thing. Like she has, whatever the first one she came out with, it was like 48 shades. And then people were like, wow, why isn't everybody else doing this? Right. So whenever Fenty came out, that was,
I was just like, oh God, I guess gotta make more than 10 of these. I don't know if they changed or they stayed the same. What were like your favorite products to use when you like just discovered like, oh yeah, I want to do makeup versus like now? Or are they the same? So like your go-to, right? When people do beauty stuff, they're like, can't live without Renee, can't live without these.
So my favorite, so basically when we worked at Mac back then, it was like Mac.
Right.
Also, I didn't even, literally, I was just Mac everything. And I don't remember when Sephora came out. I feel like it came out in the early 2000s. Wow. I have to look and see because I don't even remember like Sephora from like the late 90s until the early 2000s. I have no recollection of that. Wow. So I feel like it came out. I have to look and see now. I'm curious, but but so it was all Mac so it was Hyper Real Foundation. I don't think they don't have the original formula. It's changed, but it's very dewy. So this is in the late 90s. Very dewy foundation. It almost has like tiny pearl. Oh yes, it has pearl in it, like some kind of pearl pigment. So it like makes your skin look very fresh and glowy and dewy. And that's still what I do today. Except I just use like my favorite foundation that I use is, there's so many now, so many brands. I know. But I like Saie, actually, SAIE. So they have a glowy serum foundation, and then there's this is a new brand. Say is a new brand, and then Youthforia is another new brand. And they also, it's called Date Night Foundation, but they just make your skin look so, like it looks like your skin just evened out and super like glowy and fresh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll always, in my kit, I don't really use matte foundations or like anything that's gonna like make the skin look too dry or even if you're oily, I just do the skincare and make it not as oily.
Yeah. Okay, so you, my lady, are with the cream of the crop makeup agency. How the heck? Okay, yeah, how does a makeup artist get an agent? Because one, I didn't even know this was a thing until recently.
Yeah.
And then you're with like the best of the best one. So what was your journey, Black female, to get this agency?
You know, something like an agency like the Wall Group or A-Frame or Forward. And then there's other ones like The Only, Opus, C Management. These are like top agencies. Like they're not going to bring on someone who's just starting out.
Right.
So it's the same thing with like, you know, and Wall Group is a part of WME. And so the same with WME or CAA, they're not going to bring on like any old person like, it's like you got to make the steps to build your portfolio, your resume, to get to that level. So when I started out, I think my first agency was I think it was Next Artist. And so it was a lot of print, editorials, print, which was great because I got to do a lot of like fun, creative makeup, work with some cool magazines, cool photographers, and then from there, so then that's here in LA, but then I was working a lot in San Francisco with these kids, clothing companies and stuff. And so I got an agent in San Francisco's Aubrey Balk was that agency. And she was great. It was a small boutique agency, you know, we were killing it with all the kids stuff. It was just like,
it was me, Renee, San Fran, nobody else.
Yeah. And then, but so while I'm at these agencies, you're building up your portfolio. And other things that people don't realize when you're with an agent is that it's a relationship. It's a 50-50 relationship. It's not like, you know, I mean, if you're a newer artist, you may have, like, they may do a little bit more for you, but you also you can't just sit around and wait for stuff to come in. You have to be proactive and, you know, trying to book stuff and you know, give it to them if they, you know, give you stuff. From Aubrey, I went to another agency called JK Artists, and then this is in LA. And that was around the time where I kind of started, so like, you know, Micah Bella, Mia, Lonnie, Faith Herman, all these kids that I worked with, like, you know, they were on This Is Us or like, you know, Disney and Nickelodeon stuff. And so while that agent mostly did print and e-com and stuff like that, I was kind of starting to move into like the celebrity world. So we were like kind of slowly it was like a transition that was happening. And then, so she didn't, a lot of agencies too, okay, so if you want to work with celebrities, you need to target a celebrity agent, agency. If you want to do print and editorial, then you have to go for that agency. So that's like Art Department, Atelier, Walter Schufer, Rex. They do like print, advertising, e-com. But Wall Group, while they do that stuff, it's celebrity heavy. You know, A-Frame is celebrity heavy, Forward, you know. So you kind of move in the direction of where you want to go. So after JK, then I went to TMG, which is Tomlinson Management, and that was who I was with for about 3 years, and we just really, you know, she was great, Kelly was amazing, we really built me up, you know, to where I am now, but my ultimate goal is to get with the Wall Group. I mean, that's like, I've always said that, like, I want to be in the Wall Group. So, you know, this just happened recently.
Oh, yeah.
And so now where I'm at today, thankfully with my clients and, you know, even, you know, yes, it's with clients, but you also have to have a good work ethic. You have to have a good reputation, you know. I hope that I have a good reputation.
Yeah.
I don't think I've never, in all of my years, have heard of anyone complaining about, oh, Renee did this, or Renee doesn't listen, or Renee's hard to work with. No.
No, honey, not me.
No. I would get a whooping from my mom. So, yeah, so my ultimate goal was to get with the Wall Group, and I felt, while I love being with TMG, I'm growing, and I had to take that next leap. They were interested in me. We took a meeting. They have, at Wall Group, they have multiple agents with their own teams. So there's tons of agents there, and each agent has an assistant and then their own like artists that they work with. So I met with one of the newer agents there, and her name's Marie. Her and I hit it off. She's absolutely fantastic. And I think you have to have a good relationship with your agent, but that can only happen if you are able to communicate with your agent. Don't hold anything back. If you're not feeling like, you know, I don't want to do this job, or I don't like the way they communicated to that client, you have to be, or else you're just going to hold it in and you're going to complain, and like, you know, it's like all this ripple effect of all these things that will happen. So, yeah, so when I got with her, and also TMG, you know, I let them know up front, these are the things that I will do, these are the things that I won't do, or that I just don't have an interest in doing. I don't even care about the money. Yeah. I just don't do certain things. You know, my family comes first. I let them, you know, they both know that. And so just being very open, listening to their advice, and, you know, and so her and I were a good fit, Marie. And it's been going great. That was in August, I think I signed. So now we're in the strike right now. So it's
almost done.
It's almost done.
It was done.
So work
the
is
writers just
picking
ended,
up.
so
yeah,
you'll be
writers
good.
just ended, and then the SAG will be ending soon.
Yeah,
but yeah, work is coming
good.
back.
Good, hooray! Okay, twofer off of that story. So I love that. I love that. Yeah, you have to be a good person and great communication. Do you feel if someone's a makeup artist to be, could they be full time without ever getting an agent?
Oh yeah. Definitely. I know so many artists that are huge, major. I mean, Sir John. Oh. He doesn't have an agent.
Oh, snap.
He's like...
I just assumed, like, all these
people have. He probably may have had one, but he doesn't have one. He's just, you know, he just worked his way up to... Now it's like, well, you're hiring a brand. Like, it's Sir John. He probably has a manager, I'm sure, because it's like... But like Pat McGrath, she doesn't have one. You know, it's like you can...
self-taught.
Self-taught, yeah, I'm self-taught. Yeah. But you can use an agent to get where you want to go, and then just do it on your own. Or if if you're just love to hustle and are able to do, you know, there's just so many ways, so many ways to get jobs in LA. There's so much stuff to do here. You know, our world is competitive, but I'm like, everything is competitive. You just have to have like, you know, the will to like go out there and do something. So if you are that kind of a person, yeah, you can do it on your own. You don't have to have an agent. Okay. So yeah. With or without. But you have to, and you know, people think like, you know, oh, you know, just having an agent is like, I've made it. It's not.
No.
Not
you gotta work even harder now.
Yeah.
Because you're repping someone else's name.
Exactly. Yeah. You can do it. You can do it either way. Either way is good. You can definitely do
it.
And another thing, if you want to work with celebrities, you have to get on IMDb Pro if you can, and find the celebrities that you want to work with. On there, you can also find every single show and movie and series and every single thing that's coming out, like, or, you know, will be coming out or about to come out, and you just message their PR or manager contact, public relations contact.
All the stuff.
And, you know, you send them some of your work and you say, you know, I'd love to be considered to work with such and such. I mean, literally, in between me not being with an agent, I would do that. Send my work to tons of publicists and managers. They are more comfortable when they're working with artists that they kind of know or like have a good book, as opposed to working with an artist from Sundance that's in Vegas for CinemaCon or San Diego. So that's your opportunity, or Toronto. So that's your opportunity. Sometimes you have to pay out of pocket. You do, not sometimes, you do have to pay out of pocket for these film festivals. You'll get a rate. You may break even, which is great. You may make more depending on who the person is you're working with. But make that effort to go to those film festivals and get your skills in front, get your skills in front of that client that you're going to work on, so that now you'll be in either rotation, or they'll be like, we want you as my personal. That's how you do it.
Getting all the tools, getting all the tools.
I have no problem helping any artist and giving them all the.
You guys, now you know. So your personal journey then of like the day you quit Mac and became a freelancer to now, how many like years was that where you were like, okay, full time, I can do this full time, no more art gallery, no more other.
Oh yeah.
What was
that
your
started
personal?
in like 2007 probably, when I went like full time. Yeah. And you know, as a full-time makeup artist, that doesn't mean that you're working every day.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
Yeah.
Only in the past 3 years, kind of 3 or 4 years, have I been working consistently. And it's not about even working every day, because I don't want to work every day.
Yeah.
I just work every day.
You got the money for the bill.
Yeah, I'm a freelancer. I'm not working at a corporate company, so I don't want to work every day, but I want to work so that a certain amount of time a month, so that I make a certain amount of money that I need to survive in LA.
Right.
But so that 2007 is when that probably happened.
Oh my gosh, it's so long.
You just have to do it.
You just have to do
it.
In 2017, you were part of the Ulta Beauty Muse 100 lineup. So what did this accomplishment do?
So during the pandemic, I started Color May Vary, which is a Black-owned beauty guide. And so it features, or I'll say it houses, like almost 1,000 Black-owned brands, and it's always being updated, being added to. And also on my Instagram, on Color May Vary's Instagram, is the page has just features, you know, Black-owned beauty products that my husband and I shoot for, and Black beauty history. So everyone who's came before us, and just like a brief like summary about what they've done and what they accomplished. And so with that, I was recognized as, so Ulta Beauty started Muse 100, I think during the pandemic, I feel like. So I was recognized on their first one that they did, just for the work that I did with Color May Vary. So that was very exciting. I was shocked and like...
When they asked me for the Emmys, where were you when you received the news?
Well, I no, literally, and you know, this is when Clubhouse was around, so we all knew everybody did Clubhouse. But they sent me an email, okay? Ooh. Oh, sorry, I was with another agency, Exclusive, because that's when that happened. Yeah, so Exclusive is another celebrity agency. But, so I got an email from somebody from Ulta, and it said, congratulations, you've been nominated as one of Ulta Beauty's Muse 100, and you'll be awarded a $10,000 grant. And I was like, literally, I was like, well, this is a scam.
Right. Spam email.
Yeah, literally. And I like told my husband, I was like, look at this weird email. And literally, I just was like sitting on it. I was like, what is that? Like, I was like, why would, that just didn't make any sense to me. I never even heard of Ulta Beauty Muse.
Right.
And then I got and then I got an email from my agent at Exclusive. And they were like, oh my gosh, Renee, congrats. Because they had reached out to book me on, like, I had to do, some appearances and things. And they were like, oh my gosh. And I was like, wait, so that's real? And I was like, hollering.
Blocking blessings over here. But
hollering.
There's some, because it's true, there's so much scams out there. You don't know.
You don't know. And so that was such an amazing experience. We did like a lot of the people who got nominated did appearances for, you know, certain like segments, TV, writing, stuff like that. I also met one of my really close friends, Alana Wright, who's an amazing makeup artist. She does Lauren Hill. She's amazing.
Okay. So, you know, we're Black, we're females in America. So, either in the makeup artist journey or just in life, when you are in a bad headspace, how do you get out of that space?
I mean, my family is everything. So we're really into basketball, so we go. My son does something with basketball every day, so even if it's just going to his practice and like just being there and seeing him thrive gets me out of like, I mean, like really, okay, we'll say right now with the strike going on, this has been going on since July, so I haven't, such a difference from June and to the beginning of 2023, from July until now. Just now work is picking up, but I was in a headspace like,
Scares me.
yeah, like, well, I suck as a makeup artist. No one's working, you know, no one's doing anything. But, you know, you get in that headspace, especially as an artist, you're just like, what am I doing? And you have like, you know, what's that? Imposter, I'm like, imposter syndrome.
And then you see on social media that then there's a select few people who are still somehow working, so you're like, why am I not?
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like during this time, just doing things with my family was got me out of that headspace.
You're a little kiddo. A little person that you made. Big kiddo now. I guess when I was on the gram, he was itty bitty, but times have changed. What is a myth about being a makeup artist that's true and one that is false?
So one that is true is, okay, so as far as like getting paid, you can make a lot of money. You make a lot of money with commercials.
Hello.
Print jobs, you know, like we did Verbo, because these are multiple day jobs. And the hours are longer. If you are doing anything editorial, you don't make any money. You don't.
It's the same for the model.
When you're working with celebrities, so if it's for a big brand, yes, you get it. Obviously, you're getting paid. If it's for red carpets, you're getting paid a small amount, but you supplement that by getting a sponsorship from a makeup or hair brand. That's how you make your money. So you don't, I learned that because, you know, always over the years, brands are like, oh, can I send you product, you know, to use on your client? Okay, sure. Oh my gosh, I got so much makeup and like, this is so cool. But what are you going to, what am I, you know, I'm like using it on them, but then I'm not getting like paid. Because now you're like, just how the times are, you're like, well, I need to be paid for like doing this kind of advertisement for you. So yes, you don't make a lot with celebrities. You only make a lot if they're doing big brands or you get sponsored from. And if you are working with a big celebrity, then those other things are going to happen.
I think maybe a myth is that people who don't know makeup or in this industry think it's an easy job. I think that to me is very false.
Okay.
Because my friend who also does makeup, I'm just like, she was working with influencers, so I'm like, no, girl, do not. Because they wouldn't want to pay her because they're like, you're just coming here for like an hour just doing makeup. She's like, I have thousands of dollars worth in this kit and I'm transporting and it's my 10 plus years of experience and you're using my product. So I feel like that's a myth that I've heard that people think it's just easy.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's not. It's definitely not easy because you're dealing with a lot of people's personalities on set. You know, dealing with your client who you're working face to face with. Even if you can work yourself out of that situation, it's still there, and it's like you're, you know, when like you go to the salon and you're like, they tell you all of their, you know, they trust you and they tell you everything, and it's like a lot to take on. It's a lot to take on, plus dealing with, you know, the publicists, and you become close with them, and then it's a lot to take on. It's just a lot of, so yeah, it's a lot of like personalities you have to take on. So you have to learn, and I'm only just learning how to like separate myself from, you know, and also, you know, you kind of have to treat your clients, they're not like your best friends. Whew, you know, they're your friends, but they're not like your close friends.
Gonna die for you.
They're not gonna die for you.
Right.
So you just have to learn how to separate your personal life, just you from their personal life.
Well, that's a hard one. You're in their face, and it's not
so
like
hard
emails.
Because you want to be involved for sure, you know, because you're like, oh, I want them to think that I want them to know that I care about them, and I want them to keep hiring me. Right. It's a lot. It's a lot of things that get into your head too, like, you know. Yeah, it's a balancing act.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. So it's not easy. Not to mention lugging your 3,000-pound kit around that nobody helps you to bring up when you're on a print job. You're just like lugging it up the stairs, and then somebody up at the top of the stairs is like, "You good? You got that?" And you're like,
"Yeah,
my back is totally blown out, but yeah, I got it."
Okay, so ended with you already kind of beat me to it of like you were doing Clubhouse about Black brands.
Mm-hmm.
Why does representation matter to you in the beauty industry?
Yeah, I mean, when I go to a set, you know, when we were on set together, I didn't know that Cassie was going to be there. She's freshly moved to LA, so we just met. But it's just really, I don't even know the word.
Home.
Yeah, when you just see like your people on set, you know, and it's still not there. I mean, my goodness, like
for that to be my first time in 9.5 years, I was like,
it's still a huge problem with hiring artists who know how to deal with every single skin tone. I mean, it's literally still a problem. There was something recently in Fashion Week, I forget what the model's name was, but she went to a show. She was getting her makeup done. She was deeper skin tone, and they put like my color on her.
Ooh.
And they were like, the whole thing was just ridiculous, because they not only did they do that, but then they're just like analyzing her and like going like this, and then the model was like, yeah, I look like a ghost. Like, imagine, you know? And so then she had to go to Sephora and have them take off the makeup because the client didn't have the right foundation. So I'm like, how do you not have the right foundation color for the model that you booked? Yeah, so it's just, and if you don't know how to do everyone's skin tone, then you shouldn't be doing makeup. It's the same thing for a hairstylist. If you don't know how to do everyone's hair texture,
say it again.
And you don't want to like we come in and I'm just gonna straighten it. Yeah. No, you need to learn how to deal with everyone's texture, and for makeup, know everyone's skin tone. It's not if you want to be successful. Now, granted, people are successful and they don't know, but I feel like you have a leg up. Yeah, they only work the same type of people, but I feel like you have a leg up if you can confidently say that, like, I can confidently say I can do every single skin tone. Every single skin tone. I mean, but I should be able to say that. Yeah. You know, I have,
But, no, I think that's amazing, incredible, and gold star. Because, there's some people who, like, I want to dye my hair. My friend's like, oh, I know a guy. He's been doing it for 20 years. And I go on the page, and it's just straight hair. And it's like, highlights and wavy. And I'm like, where's one textured head?
Yeah, where's one textured head?
And then a hairstylist I know, she was like, I didn't know this, like, textured hair isn't in the program to become a hairstylist. I was like,
no, it's not.
How is that allowed?
Yeah, it's at cosmetology school, and I went to school for aesthetics. So for skincare, you do not learn about any person of color's skin. I don't know if it's changed now. Doubt it, because
Probably not.
Lady is the thing that the book that you study from, and it's still the same. And I know for sure. I mean, I guess if you're in like
Kentucky,
well, like where I live in West Adams, so in Crenshaw and stuff like that. I know like the cosmetology schools are probably learning about every single hair texture. But it's interesting that like Black people have to know how to do everyone's, from the tightest curl to the loosest, it's like you have to learn. And even with makeup, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't know how to do white people.
It's true. You don't need to be ashamed.
If I didn't know how to do white people's makeup,
but a white makeup artist could still be as successful as you without knowing how to do us.
Yes, 100%.
See how it transcends? Yeah, last.
So it's not. Yeah, it's like it's just. I don't know. I don't even want to say it's not fair. That's just how it is. It's just. It is
not fair, and it is how it is.
Yeah, yeah. I remember like during the pandemic when even like artists were messaging me and like this is big artists messaging me and saying, "Can you teach me how to do deeper skin makeup?" Big artists, and I was like,
for that coin, Zoom class.
Well, yeah, they
but
never asked me what it was going to be. Like I was going to charge them a lot because I'm like, you are huge, and I can't believe that you're asking me to do this.
You see, so I want people to do your research. So just because someone's been doing it so long doesn't mean they know for you.
Yeah, and it takes time, obviously, to learn deeper skin tones, even working with like all the different Asian skin tones, all the different Black skin tones, they're multicultural skin tones. There's just so, but if you love the craft, then you have to like learn. With Indian skin, it's you learning. There's so many different. Yeah, that for me was harder to learn because, first of all, foundations are not. There's no colors for Indian people really. You definitely have to mix. Recently now products are being made, but before like Live Tinted is she's Indian, and so her products are very Kulfi is good for that. But yeah, that was definitely a challenge for me. But it's like I would never want to work with an Indian person and then they look light or orange. Yeah. I mean that would. Or me like pull out the foundation and it's like super light or like super dark. It's just like I think so embarrassing.
Regardless of what industry, I just feel like I don't want to be like it's fine if you don't know something, but at least acknowledge that you don't know. Yeah. Don't like waste your time and that person's time pretending like you know.
Yeah. Or beforehand, sometimes, like when we did Verbo, you get a picture of every person coming in. So. Okay, now do I have every shade in there? I have the person's name, now let me Instagram them so I can see exactly, like you just do the research to find and then, then you just start, you go to the makeup store and try to find something that will match a couple colors, one color, shade darker, shade lighter. If you're interested in the craft and you want to excel, you have to like put the work in.
I love her.
And it's fun to like learn, like
if you love this, it should be not work. It should be like I'm learning something new today.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this works perfectly on. There was a foundation Exa at this store called Credo, and they have the best colors for Indian skin. Ooh. Yeah, I have a friend who used to work with Mindy Kaling, and she was the one who told me about it. And it's like it has Mindy's exact color. Yeah.
Advice, right? The old question. I always like to do hot and cold. So what's the best piece of advice either you've gotten or you would like to give, and the worst advice that you've gotten or you've overheard and you're like, don't listen to that.
Let me see, the best? Well, I think with the best, it's kind of like along the lines of what I was saying, is that you have to fail in order to get better. If you, come from failure, and I don't even know who told me this. Could have been a hairstylist. I don't know, but you just hear that in our careers all the time. As an artist, you have to fail in order to get better. You have to make mistakes to correct, and then when you correct them, then you get better at that. You have to learn from like your mistakes and learn from your failures.
It Takes a Universe to Raise a Star is all about the stars in your life, right? It takes a universe to raise the universe. Takes a universe. Who's a star at the beginning of your journey that helped you, and who's a star recently? So it doesn't have to be famous, just a supporter, positive light.
So the beginning, obviously, it's my husband, for sure, because he was already in kind of a similar career. So he was the one who pushed me to, even still pushes me to where I am today. Because he doesn't get imposter syndrome. And in fact, he was going to do a class on why artists shouldn't get imposter syndrome, because there's always something you can work on and do. Yeah. You get stuck in for me, I'm a horrible makeup artist. No! Literally.
Get that out your mouth.
And he's just do,
you crazy girl.
Yeah, do something but just do something else, don't sit there and get stuck on that.
Yeah.
So he has been in the past and obviously now. And then for now, so during the pandemic, I met this other artist, Katie Deno. And she's like my sister from another mister. She's we're around the same age. She's a little bit older, but she's been at the Wall Group for eons, and she does content creating, and she works with celebrities and stuff. But just the advice, because I also go to her with imposter syndrome as well. Yes, literally. And she just gives great advice and is really uplifting and positive, and yeah. So
okay, that's it. What's one thing in your career that you're very proud of? Whatever milestone, and outside of your career that you're really proud of?
In my career, I was one of the best things that I did this year was SNL. Yeah, with Quinta. That was because I watched that obviously when I was a kid with my dad, and just to go in there. I mean, I was oh my gosh, this is crazy. Met Lauren. And so just that whole experience, it's a machine that, it's very, they're just in that team there, there's so many teams. But everyone who I came in contact with, whether it was, assistant makeup artist or to Lauren, everyone is amazing. Everyone is amazing. It's a really good team there, and I was so thankful. I almost wasn't gonna do it because it's I gotta fly to New York, but then my husband was you and my friend Katie, you have to do this. Yeah. And yeah, so
I would have been.
I would have regretted it. So yeah, I would have regretted it. But that was definitely a highlight of my career. And then
outside of your career, something you're proud of?
My son.
Oh. Insert picture. Yay.
No, he's he's really cool. He's a writer. He loves to write podcast stuff for Minecraft. Yeah, and then he plays basketball and he's excelling, and it makes him proud.
Where can they find you online?
So you can find me.
So you can see all her cool stuff.
So you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at Renee, RENEE LOIZ makeup. And also you can check out Color May Vary on Instagram or the website. It's colormayvary.com or Color May Vary on Instagram. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for having me.